Well, I'm glad that the Timberwolves, recognized, her life and the tragic nature of her death, and it's shameful, really, that in our country we can have law enforcement officers who commit murder and seemingly get away with it. It's shameful that the government can come out and lie about what happened when there's video and witnesses who have all come out and disputed what the government is saying. So very demoralizing, devastating to lose anyone's life, especially in that matter. So it's terribly sad for her family and for her and for that city. And I'm glad the Timberwolves came out and expressed that sadness.
Steve Kerr reacted to the Minnesota Timberwolves' moment of silence for Renee Nicole Good at Target Center.
Our thoughts are with our family and everyone affected. And our hearts are with our community as we hope for healing and unity during this challenging time. Please join us in a moment of silence.
One fan yelled, "Go home ice," while another yelled, "F ice." Applause would ring out.
This is the power of sports, everyone. For those that did not see it, the Minnesota Timberwolves did a moment of silence in their game last night. Rightfully so for Renee Nicole Good. Good for the Minnesota Timberwolves and their fans for standing up for the tragedies that happened in their community and not allowing the truth to continue to be concealed from the rest of the world.
By the way, shout out to that guy who at the Minnesota Timberwolves game yelled during a moment of silence. Like, you have quite a pair on you, buddy. Never in my life would I ever sit at a moment of silence and think, I might know a way to make this better, and then execute it with everybody behind me.
In addition to Kerr, Minnesota Timberwolves head coach Chris Finch would address the media after that game where the moment of silence was held. As we all know, our community has suffered yet another unspeakable tragedy. We want to just convey our condolences and heartfelt wishes and prayers and thoughts to the families and loved ones and all of those that are greatly affected by what happened.
In Minnesota, I'm declaring tomorrow at 10 a.m. on January 9th, I'd ask everyone to pause for a moment of silence to remember Renee Good, also to remember all that's good and right about this nation. And I'm going to ask folks if they can, I'd ask employers to give their people some space. I'd ask each and every one to find a way to contribute in your community. It might be shoveling your neighbor's walk. It might be being at a food bank. It might be pausing to talk to someone you haven't talked to before, but to show the goodness, to rise up, to make sure that we're being very, very clear about this, that we expect our constitutional rights to be respected, that law enforcement is local, that we expect accountability of our elected leaders, and that we are not going to go quietly, and we're not going to give up on those things that matter so much to us. And chief amongst those is human dignity, respect, rule of law, all of the things that we know make this country great.
What's been rather daunting is the lack of athletes, the lack of those in sports speaking out after this latest tragedy. The comrade Dave Zirin feels exactly the same. For The Nation, I wrote 2 weeks ago that 2025 marked the low point of sports activism, given the tumult of violence that engulfed this country under year one of Trump's second term. This quietude from the otherwise boisterous world of sports was dismaying. Like the law firms, the universities, and whatever the hell CBS News has become under the leadership of Bari Weiss and Tony Dokapol, sports looked like another industry in a mire of cowardly compliance and complicity with an authoritarian regime. Zirin would continue. To see even a ray of light emerge from the sports world is heartening. During the Black Lives Matter movement from 2014 to 2020, sports was at the front lines of the fight for racial justice, especially at the high school level. The playing field was a central place for organizing and visible resistance. As this admin continues to fight the enemy from within, Trump's own words, maybe the sports world is waking up. People in the U.S. don't need inspiration from sports. Hundreds of thousands took to the streets this past weekend without any call from the sports world. But if the sports industry does get involved, it will mean that all those marching, chanting, and yelling F ICE will have new allies and amplifiers. This is an all-hands-on-deck moment, and those in the business of sports, that means athletes, the unions, and talking heads, can no longer afford to stand on the sidelines. So as I look at this, and it is really tough to look at the stark realities of the amount of people in sports who spoke out in 2020, in 2021, and yet with everything that has occurred, with Donald Trump taking office once more, that we are not getting that same sort of sentiment. There are so many that are choosing to sit out. I mean, recently, in probably one of the biggest acts of defiance that I personally have seen in some time, Aziz Al-Shaair of the Houston Texans wrote "Stop the Genocide" on his iBlack, and he went on national television speaking with one outlet after the game in Pittsburgh, their wild card win in Pittsburgh at formerly Heinz Field. That energy is not being matched. It just isn't. It is not. I've seen Kyrie Irving wear the press shirt when he's on the bench for the Dallas Mavericks. They are two of so few. And even as we see these atrocities taking place from town to town, one thing that we saw in the past was this mass movement. I mean, yes, there was no sports being played because of the pandemic, but these athletes were on the front lines physically. Giannis Antetokounmpo was out there. Damian Lillard was out there. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were marching in masks. And now it feels like it's even difficult to get a pity tweet. What has happened to the world of sports? Why do they remain so silent on these things that not only directly affect our communities, but at some point, as we have stated so many times, fascism does not come for just the people who look brown. They don't come for the people who look black. They come for everybody. Everybody. Those are the first targets in order to manufacture consent for an authoritarian regime. After that, that's when they start going further with their agenda. So what I would like to see, as I know Dave would like to see, and many others would like to see, is more athletes speaking out, more of them taking a stand, more of them saying that this is not okay. Because they have bigger audiences than we do. Everybody should be speaking out. Let me be clear. If you have 1 follower or 1 million followers or 20 million followers, anywhere from Billie Eilish to Billy Madison, you should be speaking out. You should be saying something. It is power in numbers. It would just be nice if some who had the largest megaphones to use them. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.